Okay, so I have to talk about it, right? I mean, it's right there. I've got to talk about it. So, The Owl House. I'll admit, I was a little late to the party on this one. Jumped on, like, halfway through season 1, I think. But that doesn't really have any bearing on how much I love it. It's charming and heartfelt, the relationships are written spectacularly, it's a wonderful moment for representation in children's media, and overall it's just weird and wonderful. Now, if you're joining us from a place of knowing absolutely nothing about the Owl House, hi, welcome, please go watch it, it's great. It's about this girl named Luz Noceda, who gets transported to the very weird, very magical realm of the Boiling Isles, and becomes the apprentice of the witch Ida the Owl Lady, which leads me neatly into what I want to talk about today. See, the reason she's called Ida the Owl Lady is that she's got this nasty little curse rattling about, which could turn her into an owl beast if not properly managed. It does actually do this a couple of times over the course of the show. In fact, it's a big part of the finale of season 1, which means we get to talk about a trope I've been itching to explore for a while now. I don't know how official this trope is, but I'm going to call it Curse as Disability, because that's what this is. This show isn't even being a little bit subtle. Ida's curse is a disability of the chronic illness variety. Something that becomes particularly clear in episode 4 of season 2, the episode that actually inspired me to make this video. But in order to illustrate my point better, let me first pull in what is probably the most well-known and poorly executed example of this trope in the last few decades. I am talking, of course, about Remus John Lupin. Now, it's no secret that Miss Joanne has claimed that lycanthropy in her books is supposed to serve as an allegory for HIV. It's also no secret that that's, yikes, considering there's only one good werewolf in the entire series, and that one of the minor villains is specifically known for targeting and purposefully infecting children. It's not a good look. I mean, it wouldn't be even if she hadn't said this, because no matter which way you spin it, the way they're written definitely lines up with curse as disability / chronic illness, so portraying 99% of them as all gung-ho for Wizard Hitler was definitely a choice. But specifically tying all of this to HIV, an illness famously known for being associated with queer men, a group that historically and even to this day get tied to pedophilia through fear-mongering, it's really, really not a good look. But then again, this is the same woman who recently went on a Twitter rampage, outing herself as an all-out TERF, and whose writing has always carried a rather obvious English colonial bias, so I'm not really surprised, honestly. But I'm hardly the first person to say any of this, so let's move on. The main issue with using curses as disability allegories, specifically beast-style curses, is that you run the risk of equating disabled and chronically ill people with vicious monsters. Or rather, people that look normal, but might at any moment turn around and rip your throat out. Which kind of begs the question, is there any way to do this trope right? Well, turns out, yes. Yes, there is. And her name is Ida the Owl Lady. And Lilith, after season 1. See, the thing the Owl House does is that while Ida's curse does admittedly pose somewhat of a danger to those around her, whenever the story takes a moment to focus on it, it's primarily on her. How does the curse affect Ida? How does it steer her life? How has she learned to cope with it? What does she do to keep it at bay? The narrative focuses on her. The clearest comparison I can find here is in the event that Ida and Lupin have forgotten to take their potions. In Lupin's case, the immediate reaction isn't focused on him, but rather everyone else. There's no worry or concern about him despite the debilitating pain he's in, and the overwhelming guilt he's gonna be feeling come sunrise. He could be alone in a heavily warded room and the worry would still be, what if he breaks out? Contrast that with Ida, where when she goes without her medication, while there is some trepidation in approaching her, the primary worry is about her. Is she okay? How's she feeling? Does she need anything? A big part of this, of course, comes down to the nature of their curses and how deadly their beast forms are. In Lupin's case, his curse is transmissible, and his unmedicated beast form is utterly without reason. Ida's curse isn't something she can accidentally pass to someone else, and her beast form can be reached and reasoned with. This comparison is also indicative of how the curses are treated in general. In Lupin's case, while we do get some mention of the hardships he goes through as a werewolf, most of the time whenever a werewolf is mentioned, it's not in the context of how their curse affects them. It's about how their curse affects others. Even when Lupin loses his job, the focus isn't really chronically ill employee forced out of his position due to outing by colleague. It's, you're the best teacher we've ever had, you can't leave, it'll make our quality of life worse. So, now let's talk about the 4th episode of Season 2 of The Owl House. Keeping Up Appearances. In this episode, we're introduced to Ida's mother, Gwendolyn, and oh boy did they hit the nail on the head with her. See, she's the type of parent who, upon discovering that she has a chronically ill child, flat out refuses to deal with it in any other way than finding a foolproof cure. Which, as we all know, is usually an impossibility. Over the years, she's tried anything and everything, and this has naturally produced a rift between her and Ida. Because Ida has her potions, and they work, and she really doesn't need her mother bursting in every so often with another quack remedy. This conflict culminates in Gwendolyn stealing all the potions in the Owl House, leading both Ida and Lilith to transform into their beast forms when their stress reaches that peak. But this episode does give her a redemption, where she realizes the harm she has caused her daughters, and works to fix it because it isn't just about the damage a family member can do by not listening to their disabled relative, it's also about the scammers who target desperate people. Which is a really nice touch, because Gwendolyn, while deeply misguided and wrong in every sense of the word, is coming from a place of care. She wants a better life for Ida, but she hasn't actually stopped to listen long enough to realize Ida's actually fine where she is. So, as a result, she is very vulnerable to medical scammers, because she's a desperate mother trying to help her child. It's the kind of casual ableism that can actually hurt the person being ableist, too. Because while Gwendolyn's actions cause physical harm to her daughters by taking their medications away, which is an absolutely horrid thing to do, and I hope I don't have to point out that you should not do that, it also causes harm to her. Because of her continued refusal to listen to what Ida tells her, she has given almost all of her life savings away to a group of scammers. It's a nuanced take, and I like that. Now, y'all know I'm not always keen on redeeming abusive parental figures, which, yes, Gwendolyn absolutely counts. Not only on account of her mother knows best attitude to Ida, but also her flat-out neglect of Lilith. But I don't mind this one, mostly because it all happened within the span of one episode, and because Gwendolyn realized herself the kind of harm that her actions had caused. And when she did that, she didn't just give some flat apology, she actually stepped up and tried to right her wrongs. Arguably, she was successful in righting her wrongs. All in all, I love this episode, both for the representation of an unaccepting family member that really hit home, and for the more nuanced take on that particular family member, even though my case isn't like Gwendolyn at all. And for the, well, casual representation of a chronic illness. Ida just has potions sitting around the house. This has been an established fact forever, but it really, hit home in this episode that she has her medication sitting around the house just in case she needs it. Which is a really relatable feeling because I don't go anywhere without my emergency medication. It's one of those small things that, like, get you to connect to a character just that little bit more, and I really love it. And I especially love her teaching Lilith, showing her all the hiding spaces, taping up potion bottles to the ceiling because she knows Lilith will see them because she usually lies on the couch. It's all wonderful, and I loved it so much. And I don't really know how to close out this video, other than, yeah, if you're gonna be writing about curses, bear in mind how easy it is often to draw parallels between them and disabilities. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, consider liking it and maybe subscribing. I will be back here Thursday after next. Bye!